Hey everyone, Joe Ovius here. Before we get started, I want to tell our listeners about a brand new podcast from WRAL Studios called Follow the Truth. It starts off by telling the story of Michael Jordan's father, James, who was murdered in 1993. And as the show digs through all of the evidence and the trial, it questions whether the wrong person was convicted as the killer. It's hosted by WRAL TV's Amanda Lamb, and it's a fascinating listen. Find Follow the Truth now wherever you listen to podcasts.
This is the 919 Beer Podcast, part of the Capital Broadcasting Podcast Network. Now, here are your hosts for the 919 Beer Podcast, Joe Ovius, Adam Eschbaugh, and Wayne Holt.
It's the 919 Beer Podcast. Joe Ovius from 99.9 The Fan in Raleigh, North Carolina. Adam Eschbaugh and Wayne Holt of 919 Beer. Maddie Beeson, Regional Market Manager.
That's it.
For STEM Ciders. Welcome back.
Thanks. Happy to be back.
Yeah, I was going to say, we haven't talked to you in a while. Actually, I think the last time I saw you was at a Wegmans.
It was at a Wegmans. Yeah, I handed you a couple of tastes of a couple of things.
And and my wife was there, and we were.
And that was probably pre-pandemic.
That was pre-pandemic.
Oh yeah, I think that was actually the opening of the Wegmans. It was like
yes.
It was like
so
week 2.
I think you came in the summer of 2019.
That sounds about right.
Like a month or two before your
But with social media, I feel like I know what's going on with Maddie all the time. So
you're Running Man.
That's right, Mr. Running Man, which we'll get to in a second.
Because you guys can have a whole separate.
I feel like when I saw you 2 years ago, you weren't running as much as you have been in the last 2 years.
Oh, like none.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you look a hell of a lot more like you've been running than you did 2 years ago. I'm just saying.
Yeah, about basically a 6-year-old less than my previous self.
Wow.
Really specific.
After the podcast, I need some pro tips on that because I also need to shed like a toddler.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, it went really well for a year. It slowed a little bit.
Yeah, I bet.
There's a bit of a plateau happening right now.
All right,
so
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Shout out to House of Hops for sponsoring the 919 Beer Podcast. You can visit their 3 locations, 2 of them in Raleigh, 1 in Pittsburgh. They got 24 beers on tap. If you've been fully vaccinated, walk on in. No mask required. It's all good. And if you're still a little wary about going into places, no big deal. They got curbside pickup. You can order online. And also check out their social media channels for their locations because they have a lot of cool nights, whether it's like a Bible study night, trivia nights, final nights, at all their various locations. So check out House of Hops. And again, we thank them for sponsoring the 919 Beer Podcast.
I saw our friend Chris Burns with Wise Man, who takes it upon himself to be, I guess, the vinyl night traveling troubadour of craft beer bars and bottle shops.
This is true.
Troubadour. And that's what he did. He was dropping off some, quote, samples to me because that's what good beer friends do. And his trunk was just completely packed with records.
Awesome.
Do they call them records?
They
or
still call
it vinyl?
They still call them records. They still call them records.
Albums.
Record,
I still call them albums.
Record is singular, vinyl is plural?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not in the vinyl scene, the record scene.
Yeah, I still say record when we refer to an actual record.
Singular.
You know, like an actual vinyl record.
But vinyl is the plural.
But or records. I have a bunch of records. If
vinyl is more of the culture, right?
Yeah, I think that would probably be.
Gotcha.
That would probably be it. That'd probably be the best way to go about it. If you're being
you listen to vinyl, you don't listen to records.
If you're on Discogs and you're trying to find an album, it'll have it listed by the format: vinyl, CD, tape, or cassette. Which cassettes are making a comeback in its own weird way, but that's another story.
So, what do you prefer, Joe? You prefer CDs or tapes?
CDs? What, Wayne? Anyway. What's funny about that is
it not cool to still? I still have CDs.
Do you?
How do you play them? How do you play the CDs?
In your car?
My CD player.
How old is your car?
Right. My car, my Honda still. Wait a minute, your Honda doesn't have a CD player?
All 3 of our vehicles.
I do not have a CD player.
Really? Because like my
gone.
2017, it's a 2017 Honda Fit had a CD player.
No,
yeah, I've got like a 14.
What model year is your
old?
Honda?
I'm on a 19.
Oh, okay, that sounds about right. You know what? You know what's even harder to get? An AM radio in a car now.
Oh, actually, the funny part is I can access an AM radio.
Which is wild to me because a lot of infotainment systems do not have AM anymore.
Really?
Yeah, basically there's...
My 2020's got a AM,
some,
FM.
Some have gotten rid of the AM altogether. Or if
FXM.
they do have an AM band, they put the cheapest materials in there for your AM band. That's why it sounds all scratchy.
I
The only
guess so
time it
many
gets there is
people-
by accident.
So
Yeah.
many people listen to like podcasts and
They're listening
and
to the
stream and they'll stream.
You're listening to the 919 Beer Podcast.
Yeah,
all
but
the
even
time.
when they're not listening, which is rare,
Yes.
they're still streaming, like
Yeah,
through
yeah,
the
yeah.
fan app.
So before we get into ciders and what's new with STEM, I do feel like we have to talk about Beercana. I know that we
talk about it.
We talked about Beercana a little bit, but I got the sense that you weren't quite ready to talk about.
Yeah, I think
Beercana.
we're ready now. It's
But
time.
I mean, we're a month away.
Tickets go on sale in a month.
Okay. Oh, tickets go on sale in a month.
August 14th, tickets going. We are not putting on Beercana in August. No
This
thanks.
is in October.
October 9th
Okay.
is the date, but tickets go
Gotcha.
on sale Saturday, August 14th at 10 a.m. at beercana.com, and you need to be ready.
Because there's only 1,500 spots.
1,500 spots. Yeah, and we talked a little bit about that. We're doing that intentionally. We're intentionally pulling back on. It's not going to be quite the. Not that it's ever a free for all experience, but like it's not. It's going to be a more intimate setting, and we're trying to see how this is the year to see how certain changes look.
Yeah.
I think if any year people would be up for a little bit of change, it's going to be this year. Right now, we think next year it'll probably go back to the way it was, but right now we kind of have to crawl before we walk.
That works.
So
That works.
That's the deal. All one ticket. No, there's no VIP. It's all VIP.
Everybody's
/
VIP
general
now.
Admission. And there will be a number of music only tickets available, perfect for those designated drivers.
Mm-hmm.
There will be no alcohol allowed to be purchased.
Mm-hmm.
Stop asking dumb questions. You get a wristband, you get 2-ounce samples.
No
That's
dogs.
how
Wait,
this
when
year
has
festival works.
anybody been able
Every year?
No dogs,
Every
no
year.
pets, no
to? Wait a
purchases.
minute, but people have asked if
People
you can
ask every
buy?
year,
The
if I just
VIP
get the
tickets
music
are-
only ticket, can I just buy a couple beers?
No.
No.
You should have a podcast on all of the crazy things that happen at festivals and
Oh, gosh.
the outrageous things that people ask.
We
I've
get
got
a
to-
lot of stupid questions, but we don't get a lot of stupid people that show up.
Yeah.
I've
for
got
the most part.
I've got to have an
we have, like, one
ID
a
to
year.
get in,
Yeah.
Bring your ID.
but you
Don't
can
bring
clearly
your kids
tell
or
I'm
dogs.
73 years old. Not me, but Adam.
Put that denim hat back on.
All right. But we get that, and it's not that we can't tell you're probably over 21. It's that it's
Yeah.
we have an ABC permit
laws.
that's pulled by the North Carolina
Laws.
Craft Brewers Guild, and we have to check IDs per state law.
Yeah.
You have to have one of 4 types of.
And honestly, if we hurt your feelings, it's only 1,500 feelings that we can hurt this year. It's,
Yeah.
it's easier for us.
Slug Farm is paid for. The stage has been requisitioned for the music. Hey, I've done 2 of my tasks, Adam.
Talk to the porta pots. We're good to go there. Yeah, there's going to be some changes, but we're not doing like the VIP section and things like that. It's just we're just happy to be back. We're happy to be back, and we hope that the folks who show up are happy to be back as well. And that's what this year looks like.
Very cool. All right. Ciders.
But we're going to have ciders there.
So last time you were here, about 2 years ago,
Yes.
we basically got like the stem cider starter pack.
Right.
Like this was just a basic introduction to what STEM does.
Yes.
What you brought today
It's not the starter pack.
is not the starter pack. We're going next level.
This is
We're
Well,
leveling.
like
We're
all-time-
leveling up here.
I didn't think we needed to like redo the starter pack. I
No.
figure we would just, like.
So real quick before we get into the leveling up portion of STEM,
Yep.
for those who might have missed that podcast from 2 years ago, they might see STEM cider on the shelf.
Yep.
Of your cores, which are the cores and the breakdown? And you have your dry, and you have
we've got sort of 2 different levels of cider. So we're 100% fresh pressed apple juice, no concentrate in anything that we do, no extracts, no concentrates. Everything's actual flavoring. If there's an adjunct flavor, it is on purpose, and it is actual fruit or it is actual flavor.
Yeah.
That's the basic. Then we break down into essentially 2 different series, a dry series and an off-dry series. And the off-dry series gets to about, as much as, I guess, with our hibiscus is 13 grams per 12 ounces, which is still about half of what your typical...
Talking grams of sugar.
Grams of sugar.
Yeah.
Correct. Per 12 ounces, which is about half of what you're going to get from like a typical grocery store brand.
Yeah.
So we are into drier style ciders. We're into things that are going to be a little bit more refreshing, low sugar.
I've said it before.
Clean.
I love the straight up dry.
Yeah,
like
me
how much
too.
sugar? How much sugar is in that?
Real dry?
Real dry.
0.
Perfect.
No sugar whatsoever. It is all fermented out.
I love it.
As is the raspberry. Both of those have no sugar in them. And then off dry is 9. There are a few others in there. Pear is 8. But those are going to be sort of more of our core straightforward ciders. Now with the level up that we're going to do today, I brought one that is accessible in North Carolina. Unfortunately, the other 3 I brought might be accessible in North Carolina at some point, but they're not right now.
Not right now. All right. So which is the one? Let's start with the one that people can get right now.
So we're drinking it.
This is the Paloma.
This is the Paloma. This is our current
This is my all-time favorite
seasonal.
cider.
Wow.
Wow.
I love Palomas.
Laying it
Like
down.
Palomas.
Now look, I like a Paloma too, but okay.
We make
I'm all
Palomas
done
a
here.
lot
I'm
at my
just gonna
house.
go.
All right, time to get out.
Yeah,
this
good to
this
see you
cider,
guys.
it tastes like a Paloma. Like
Yeah.
I just need a little tahini for my rim, and I'm good to go.
Yeah. So what we did with this was, it was, everything is intentional, and so we sat down and tasted literally like 7 tequilas, and we basically tried to
Sounds
pull
like a fun
out.
night.
Yeah, exactly. And we basically tried to pull out the qualities of tequila that we could get. It's tough with hard alcohol, obviously, but you can do it in small doses. And so one of the interesting things that we found is, like, in 4 of them, we found a really sort of like very small, like light juniper berry characteristic. And so what we did was we took, with this Paloma, we ended up with grapefruit, key lime, juniper berry, a little bit of black peppercorn, and a touch of agave syrup. And so we get, basically, you've got this cider that's really clean, really citrusy, 4 grams of sugar. It's like summer in a can.
Has anybody? Sorry, Adam. I had one quick question.
Go for your question.
Has anybody? I'm not saying you're recommending this, but I feel like this is alcoholic.
Has anyone added tequila?
Right. This is alcoholic.
100%.
And yet, I know it's alcoholic, but because it's so easy to drink, I can't quite tell it's there. Like, what's the percentage on this thing?
This is 5.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's amazing. Number 1. Number 2. Yes, I want to put in 2 ounces of tequila this bad boy.
And you should. And throw it on some ice.
Absolutely.
Do you think it needs tequila? Because to me, they have really translated everything I enjoy about tequila and about a Paloma into this can.
Yeah.
I'm not saying tequila's a bad thing.
No. Look, I know people who throw vodka in a Natter Days, dude. So, exactly. That's why I asked.
Yeah.
The one thing I can always tell about tequila, like, it has like the salinity to it.
Right.
And this tastes, to me, it tastes like a Paloma should taste.
Yeah.
I really get, like, the black pepper really comes out to me.
Yeah.
But not in an offensive way. And when you said juniper, I remember you stopped by the brewery
right
a few weeks ago when we were chatting about this. You
Yeah.
dropped it off, and you said juniper. And junipers,
Gin.
you get juniper in gin.
Right.
Right, the botanicals in gin, like,
Yeah.
that's where juniper comes from.
Yeah.
I've never even thought about it for tequila. But, man, it works so well in this.
Neither
Works
had
so
we.
well.
Honestly, until we did the tequila tasting, and then we 3 or 4 of them, we went, I get a little juniper. Ooh, I get it in that one too.
Oh,
and then
okay.
all of a sudden we were like,
Gotcha.
man, I think we, let's try a little bit of juniper in this and see if we can. Because literally this was, the thought process behind this cider was literally, we want to make a Paloma. Like, we want to make the closest thing to a Paloma. And
I feel like Palomas are cocktails that people don't really know about, but once they do, they love them.
Oh, they just drink.
Joe liked it enough to put his microphone down, get up, walk around the two of us,
finish that can.
to get the can and take it back and finish it off.
I did.
I mean,
I just wanted
he didn't
to-
just ask me to pass the can. He did all that.
Well, that's the people. It's this is not a visual medium. They don't need to know that I'm
They do. I mean, that's just
walking
like
around.
you.
Wayne was just painting.
In all the
painting a
time
picture
that
with
we've
his
been doing
words.
podcasts, which is what 6.5 years, I don't know that you've ever gotten up and moved around the room to pick up a beer
No,
to
fair
take it
enough.
back to your seat and finish it,
Fair enough.
or cider.
It's really good, and that's why I was curious about adding something to it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you can. It's a Friday night turn up if you're doing that.
Oh, 100%.
Okay, got it.
100%.
that- yeah.
And we support that.
You
And
got to
we-
be where
and
you
we
need to
support
be, though,
that.
if you're
Friday
gonna
night
do
No,
it.
that's what I'm
maybe.
saying. That's
If
what I'm
you're
saying.
doing that, you need to
you
be
know what
where
that
you need
is.
to be.
You know what that is. That's we can instead of doing a ranch water night, we could do a Paloma night.
Yeah,
and I don't
if
have
we
to leave
bring
my
our own
house.
sleeping bags.
Yeah. Well, I got a shed. I'll set up the tents on the other side of the creek.
You don't have
You
to
guys
do
can-
that, man.
You guys can go over there.
I want a couple of houses on the street behind me that we're going to be demoing. You guys can just crash in one of those.
Oh, jeez. So, all right. So this, to reiterate, the Paloma is available here.
Yeah, you can find it in North Carolina.
Got it.
It's in most of your bottle shops.
Go find it for real.
Go find it. It's really, really good. All right. So now we're getting into the realm of things that are not available in North Carolina.
These are the non-North Carolina things
But
that I
if you-
thought I'd bring just for fun.
If you
and-
find them, or you're taking a trip like I am to Denver,
Yeah,
maybe you find them
yeah,
there, right?
You will find them. This one you will specifically find in the Denver Zoo.
Oh,
So we have a collab with them.
okay.
And so we created Flockstar.
I love the can.
And
It's got a flamingo on it.
yeah, we're really embracing the flamingo right now with STEM. As you can see on my shirt, we're really going all in on flamingos, and I'm kind of enjoying it. I like the pink. So this is hibiscus and cucumber.
Cucumber. Okay.
The cucumber very much comes through on this.
Yes,
But I asked watermelon. I think those two play
and
together to make like a watermelon.
100%. I get that all the time. I mean, when people put their nose in it, they're like watermelon.
That
and I'm
hibiscus
like,
adds a little bit of tartness, though. Hibiscus usually has a little bit of tartness. It makes sense.
Right.
It's delicious.
Thank you.
Absolutely delicious. Like, I could. Are you one of those people that adds salt to your watermelon?
Yes.
You ever done that?
Yeah.
Well, I've
Like
never,
a salted,
I've never
I don't
done
even
that.
really-
salted rim.
I don't
with
even really
this?
like watermelon unless it either has salt or the other thing that is like barbecue spices. Have you ever tried barbecue spices
No,
on
like
watermelon?
dry,
Like dry rub.
Oh,
Interesting.
I've never tried
So
that.
That's next
good.
level right there, man.
So
next
good.
level.
I could
So
do a
good.
salted rim with this
Okay.
over ice.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I really could. It is really delicious.
How
Yeah.
often do people actually drink this kind of stuff on ice?
It's interesting. It was for a long time, I think, in the cider community, it was really poo-pooed. And STEM,
If you're making them like cocktails, though.
we've really started
is
to
like
embrace
these are both
it.
like cocktails.
We're
Yeah.
essentially, I mean, like recently we've started to put out some programming that's like, put it on ice.
Yeah.
Like, it's cold, it's delicious, it's refreshing, it's hot outside. Like, what's wrong with that?
Yeah,
I
nothing
want
wrong
it
with
on Smithfield's ice. That's what I want.
Oh.
Chewy, the
The-
chewy,
Oh, the
the-
chewy,
the
oh, the
rabbit-
chewy ice.
the
I was like,
rabbit-
it's like the,
rabbit
yeah,
turd
like the
pellets?
Sonic ice.
Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's summertime.
It's funny how
It's
Adam
like a
grades
slushy.
his ice.
Oh, I love.
No, there's
we
not
can
all
have
ice-
a conversation. with
Not all ice
Oh,
is
I
the
can
same.
too.
I don't like ice. I go to a restaurant. I order my water with no ice.
Oh, no.
I'm not an ice guy,
No.
unless it's icing down the beer or whatever. But
There's something about for me, my ice preference. It's not the rabbit pellet ice. I know which one you're talking about. That chewy ice. To
I want
me,
it for this though because I wanted to taste almost
no,
like a snow
mine
cone.
is
Wow.
Italian pizzeria with the wood paneling, like crushed ice in a red plastic cup, red like Coca-Cola cup, little jeweled whatever. That's the kind of ice that I like. That just hits different. Like soda hits different in a cup
If
like
I'm
that
drinking-
with that ice.
if I'm drinking a fountain soda, yeah, I want some ice in it. But water, I definitely don't. And I would.
No, it's just like
Cocktails-
when I'm drinking this Flockstar, and to Manny's point, like you guys are basically making cocktails in a can with
Yeah.
cider, and that's why I was curious how about that? Let me put it this way: if you were having people over and you wanted to cheat on cocktails,
Yeah.
you could. Let me whip something
Come over,
up
we're
for
having
you.
Palomas.
Let me whip something up for you. You could put that in a glass. dress it up with the salted rim, or what's the fancy
Tahini, man.
Tahini,
I'm telling
yes.
you, it changes.
It changes
No, it
you,
does.
man.
It does.
Changes your cocktail experience.
It's been funny
Yeah.
to see how that's gotten more and more popular.
Especially with like tequila-based cocktails.
So that's gotten more and more popular. I mean, hell, it's hit critical mass when I've gone to freaking, what's the new taco joint? Torchy's up the way, and they are actually offering cocktails with that on it. So I mean, it's at a fast casual, and they're bringing that tahini on there.
It's a Texas thing. They're from Texas.
I get it. So that's why I wondered on the ice, because if you are somebody that's hosting and you want to basically fake it, you could probably pour that in a fancier glass with the accoutrement, with some flair, and people would think you just whipped that up. Like, oh my God, what's the recipe for this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
All right, so
on ice.
You brought some damn bottles.
I brought
You
some,
need-
I
you
brought
need to
some
finish yours, Joe,
bottles.
so you can get this
So you guys have done. You guys have had a lot of our core stuff, but
Yeah.
I felt like I wanted you to also be able to taste the sincerity of what STEM is, and the fact that we care about apples, and we care about the products that we make.
So
It's a
all
lot
right.
different than what we were just drinking.
So
100%
you
different.
just gave us what is called a New England blend.
That's
not
correct.
hazy.
Not gonna
No.
lie, when I saw New England blend, I'm like, are you really are you making a hazy
No,
freaking
so
cider?
this is literally. So this is not a hazy cider.
Unfiltered,
This
Joe.
is a New England. This is New England apples.
So when I have this, do I have to say after I've poured it for somebody, how do you like them apples?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
You got our number?
sorry, some people will get the reference. This is different. Okay, yeah, this is not.
You got
this
to
is not-
take a couple sips to
this is
adjust
not a
your
hazy.
palate.
Yeah. You definitely. Yeah. You gotta. Yeah.
Well, you
Take
had
2
me
or
at
3.
you had me at raisins and brown sugar. Like, okay, this is not going to be like what I just had. 10.5%.
10.5%.
Yeah.
That'll get you.
Okay, so here's the crazy part about this. It's, I think, the one thing that we forget about with wine, right? Sometimes wines you don't realize are at 14,
Right.
15%.
Right.
So this is clearly easier drinking than bubbly
Yeah.
at 10.5%. It's good, though. This is definitely
also
this is a
didn't-
pair it with food type cider here.
Yeah. 100%. And I didn't chill it down quite as much as you might, just because I wanted all the flavors to come out.
No, it comes
It's
out.
definitely, the flavors are out.
It comes out.
Yeah.
And the warming upon swallowing that thing, it doesn't burn, but it's warm and
Yeah.
it lasts.
Yep.
It like my throat is still
You can
warm.
feel it.
I feel like I should
comforting
have.
though.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
thing.
You know, it's like
yeah.
a comfortable.
It's
warmth.
almost like the comfortable burn you get off after like bourbon.
Yeah.
Except that it's not. There's none of the sting that comes with it.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I love the sting as much as the next guy.
Yeah.
But it's got that same sort of comforting, sort of warming feeling on the back of the palate.
I was about
does.
to say the comforting part. I wanted to say, like, I feel like I need a cardigan while I'm listening.
You
to
got a
Or
new,
that
you got a
corduroy
new
hat.
corduroy hat
with that
so
corduroy. We're going to get to the fashion in a second because I do find the fashion fascinating. Anyway,
It's coating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It leaves
It
almost
is
like
coating.
a coating.
It's rich.
It's not necessarily a syrupy drink, but it leaves
No, it's not
like
syrupy.
it
It's not
leaves a
syrupy.
coat.
It's viscous.
Yeah, it's got some viscosity.
Yeah,
We're just throwing
it's
around
viscous.
like a bunch of fancy words.
Wow.
Pivot. Nothing? Is that what it took to kill the conversation?
pivot.
We're not bringing up the word pivot anymore.
Are we pivoting to video?
We are not.
We tried that once.
We did.
We tried that once, and no, we've stuck with the podcast. Okay, so we've got this New England blend. The other one is called what?
Farmhouse cider.
Farmhouse cider.
This is a cool story.
This
so,
looks unfiltered. This looks like a New England.
It is unfiltered. It is. We're not going to call it New England though.
6.4%.
We'll get there. We'll get there on the hazies.
Oh,
We'll get there.
Okay. All right.
We'll
All right.
get
All
there.
right. All
These
right.
are all okay. This got some funk to it.
Yeah. So this is
This
actually.
has been really different, man.
Yeah,
You
yes.
were really throwing my
Yeah.
throwing
Well,
my taste buds around
like,
here.
I brought you the cores. I wanted,
This
I
is
wanted to
really-
give you the breadth.
This is really going to pair well with the sad turkey sandwich waiting for me back at the cubicle. I mean, this is really going well with it.
You're gonna want the farmhouse for that.
You got a turkey sandwich.
I'm telling you. If you have a turkey sandwich, this farmhouse is gonna be perfect for it.
Look, man, you got to cut back somewhere.
I like turkey sandwiches.
Good way to cut back on some budgetary issues. Just to make your own damn sandwiches.
Oh, believe me.
Even if they look sad when you unfold.
Adam and I
them.
rode in together because he had to go to scratch in downtown Cary. He goes, hey, man, well, come by and we'll ride together. I said, I'm at the office, but I'm going home to eat a salad. So
And then we talked about budgetary woes the whole way here.
we sure did.
It was
There you
fun.
go.
We were like
was great.
super uplifted.
Man,
when we
that
got
is
here.
such an adult conversation.
But I was eating the salad for
Well, I'm
health
getting drunk at
reasons,
lunch.
not
Yeah,
for.
you're
I
eating it for
have
health reasons.
food.
I'm eating it for budgetary reasons
Yeah.
because getting some cold cuts from Wegmans and all that stuff, making that is a lot cheaper than going up the way to, I don't know, Torchy's and dropping $20 on a couple of tacos.
Or like I did yesterday for lunch, I took myself and a 13-year-old to D&S Cafeteria, and it was $29 at the cafeteria.
Dude, that's still a good deal.
Oh, I
It's
mean,
still
it
an
was-
incredible deal, and it's experience. You're paying for the experience.
and the kid ate all of it, which
Hell yeah, man.
doesn't usually
I
happen.
love,
So.
man, oh, God, can we do a cafeteria
Oh,
podcast?
absolutely.
Let's do a
I
cafeteria
love me some
podcast.
cafeteria food.
Anyway,
he had
I've
never been to a
I've already
cafeteria.
made my lunch plans for today. I'm going to go spend $8 at the Roast Grill after this.
Oh, they're back
See,
open.
Oh, see,
I
Wayne will
just
follow
saw
you
it.
down there.
I tried to do that a couple of weeks ago because it said they opened at 11, but new hours 11:30, so I had to get here. And I was like,
Yeah, it's funny. You mentioned Roast Grill. I was actually at Clues yesterday having lunch with an old friend, and it was packed, and it did get me thinking about the Roast Grill because I know they've been boarded up for a while. But
A while.
they've just opened up, and I know Players Retreat has just opened up too.
Right.
So it's great that those places just had the ability to shut down for as long as they did and actually come back.
Right.
Without any sort of weird hours to try to stay afloat. All right.
So the quick fun
Farmhouse
on this one,
cider.
Yeah, the quick fun on this one is Phil Cow, one of the owners or founders of STEM, decided he was essentially going to culture yeast on a pineapple that had gone bad, and then he took the yeast and turned it into this essentially.
It's
So
funky.
it's all natural inoculation.
It's funkier on the
yeast
nose
sort
than it
of
is on the
like-
palate, though. Once your palate adjusts, well, and maybe I just adjusted the pH because I've already had like 2 ounces of it.
Is your body processing pH? I mean, you just go science nerd
When
on
you,
me.
well, yeah, but when you have like funk and sour and stuff, like your mouth adjusts.
It settles
And then-
down.
It does.
Yeah, and then you
It
can
does.
taste certain things.
Yeah, the nose on it is definitely you kind of.
The nose is
Especially
far
after
It,
the
it
reached.
richness.
announces its presence.
It does.
Especially
It
after the
does
richness
indeed.
of those raisins and
Yeah.
brown sugar in the last one, you know, this
Adam
is-
didn't go
this is
nerd at all just then, believe me. We'll talk nerd. We'll talk nerd when we get to swag. Remind me to tell you a story about a hat
I look forward to
and a
that.
nerd.
Okay.
I look forward to
Okay,
that.
I'm intrigued at that because I
Yeah.
also wanted to get into fashion because we went to Transfer Food Hall in downtown Raleigh this
Oh, yeah.
weekend to go see before we went and saw Black Widow, and the young man fashion. I finally hit that point with the young man fashion. I'm like, so this is what you guys are doing. You guys, you 20-somethings are dressing like my 13-year-old now. Okay, got it.
Did you see anyone
mismatched
that-
socks, like crazy prints? That kind
What
of stuff.
about, did you see any guys wearing the, for lack of a better description, the capri pants for men?
Oh, those have been around for a long time.
Yeah, but this is the new, because I was down at Outer Banks over the weekend and went to a couple of surf shops.
They're
Yeah.
back again.
The Get
And-
Off My Lawn
Pants?
session.
And
of this
these are
podcast is brought
actually,
to you by House
these
of
are
Pops.
rolled up with a piece of fabric that comes over and a button.
Oh, it's like that.
Oh, they were
Okay.
nice. And I pulled a pair of them off the rack, and
How much were they?
what I mean about that is Jessica walked over and said, "Hey, you find anything you like?" I said, "Yeah, let me show you this one thing I can't live without." And she went, "Yeah, I think you should get those and wear them out when you go out without me."
That's always a good sign.
Yeah, that's well. Okay, next time we do an on-location beer podcast, I know what you'll be wearing.
Absolutely, right?
Anyway,
Farmhouse cider.
farmhouse cider. Adam's very much
It's
like.
gluten-free. Did you know that?
Can we get back to the alcohol?
Hashtag
Hey.
stick to cider.
Yeah, sticks. Yes.
Or,
All right.
or,
So
or-
this comes from Bad Pineapple.
yeah.
Not bad, just old, spoiled.
It's a good cider.
Yeah, Bad Pineapple. So this comes from Bad Pineapple. Take the culture, make this out of it.
Yeah.
And it's look, y'all nailed it on what a farmhouse style like basically it has all the characteristics from the nose to the initial funk to it that I would associate with some sort of farmhouse beer.
Sure.
So, but I also know it's a cider.
Yeah.
These last two also, it's worth mentioning, they were still, right? Or lightly carved.
Lightly
They're
carved.
lightly carved.
Were they
They're lightly
bottle,
carved.
Were they bottle conditioned at one point, or do you know?
No,
They're not
neither
carved
one
nearly
of
like the cans
those
were,
are
though.
bottle conditioned, but yeah, they're not carved
Okay.
like the cans are.
Got it.
No, it's more of just sort of a light, like give it a little bubble, give it a little effervescence.
And these bottles are not available.
No, I mean when you're in Denver, as you said, you can
drinking a little bit of them.
You can go to the Acreage, which is our production facility and our big restaurant in Lafayette, or you can go to our tap room in downtown Rhino in Denver, and you can.
Well, I'll be on location, so Labor Day weekend.
Nice.
You're going to Denver?
Yeah, my cousin's getting married in Denver. This was a wedding that was supposed to take place last Labor Day weekend, but pandemic, so they pushed it to this Labor Day. So I'll be going there.
Hey, it's Jamie and Sarah, and we are back with another fresh, sparkling new episode of Wine and Dandy, which leads us nicely into what we're talking about.
That's
Sarah.
right. So refreshing. We're talking about hard seltzers. And I'll tell you what, there are some new ones on the market that may change your mind about hard seltzers.
Join us.
You can find our podcast at WRALFM.com, as well as your Apple Podcast app and anywhere you find your podcast.
Just look for Wine and Dandy. Once you search and find it and enjoy it, please tell all your friends. Share the link with them.
And be sure to follow us, because wine is fun and we intend to prove it.
You go to Beer Stott.
To what?
Beer Stott Lager House.
Beer Stott, yeah.
Get a slow pour pills.
It's delicious. Really, really good.
Really
and
awesome.
if you're there, you are 2 blocks from the downtown STEM Rhino
There you go.
location.
Hey, look, I just need to get to go to Topo Designs and buy really expensive stuff. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Okay.
Sadly, you can't go to Falling Rock Tap House.
Along with beer as well. All right, so what else do you have in the cans?
All right, so in cans, we're gonna transition, pivot.
Pivot.
We're pivoting.
Pivot.
We are pivoting because now I also represent Boulder Beer.
We never thought Matty B would be a beer salesman.
I know, right? They
So
brought me in.
hold up.
They brought me in.
So you go from Mr. Restaurateur,
Yeah.
some well-known restaurants in the Chapel Hill and Durham areas.
Thank you.
To ciders to keep it different.
Yep.
And now you're slinging beer.
I'm slinging beer.
What?
Yeah.
What happened?
Slinging beer. So Boulder Beer has a really interesting story. It's one of the oldest craft breweries. It is the first craft brewery in Colorado.
Okay.
It is the 40th.
No, I'm sorry, that's Coors.
No. Craft, I said.
Kidding.
Craft.
I'm sorry, but the banquet is craft in the stubby bottle.
So Boulder, 43rd.
We can edit that out, Matty. Don't worry.
Don't worry about it.
43rd oldest. I love banquet beer. Don't get me wrong.
In the stubbies.
100%.
Absolutely.
All
And
jokes
Golden is
aside.
one of
Yeah.
my favorite places in the United States.
All jokes
that I've
aside.
visited.
So
Yeah.
Boulder Beer. So here's what's funny about Colorado. There are a lot of breweries that people might associate with Colorado. That's why I was joking
Absolutely,
about. That's why I was
absolutely.
joking about the Coors thing.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of other breweries that people might associate with Colorado, whether it's something like Coors or other people would consider craft breweries. But Boulder was the first.
Boulder was the first.
Okay.
Boulder's the first, 1979.
Okay.
The 43
Older
oldest
than
craft
Sierra Nevada.
brewery in the country.
Okay.
Started by a couple of Boulder, Colorado professors. Boulder, Colorado University of Colorado professors. Later purchased by Frank and Gina Day. Also owners of things like Old Chicago, a couple of other restaurant chains, some really interesting stuff. They've sort of been entrepreneurs for a long time.
Yeah.
And they furthered the Boulder thing for, until now. I mean, they're still the owners. So,
Okay.
they're sort of plugging along. How I got into it was essentially they.
Well, real quick, what is the relationship with Boulder and STEM?
So Boulder and STEM are essentially just friends. And what
Okay.
happened was Frank and Gina closed their tap room in Boulder and wanted to sort of concentrate on Colorado, but then also decided they wanted to spend some time, not doing things that are outside of Colorado. And the infrastructure that it takes to run a brewery that's in, almost all 50 states is no small task. And so they came up with this idea of bringing STEM into the fold and becoming the sales and marketing team, basically employing the STEM sales and marketing team to do Boulder as well. And obviously that's it works well because when you walk into a bar, a restaurant, a store, a bottle shop, any of those places, they're likely looking for both of those things.
Yeah.
So we're not competing with each other.
No, you're not. You're
you
not.
know.
So what is the availability of Boulder beer here?
It is available wherever
But it had
you
left
want
the
it.
state for a little while.
It had probably somewhere between 2 and 3 years. So it's only been back for about 6 months.
With a rebrand, like a
Total
Full
rebrand, right?
rebrand. So we have,
Unrecognizable.
So we used a group called the Storied Brand out of Denver to redo everything that we did, and we have new carton packaging. Everything is pictures taken by folks in the Boulder area of recognizable scenes. So it's all it's completely new packaging and branding and everything. The branding we had was great, but all things have to sort of be updated and changed and bettered if you can. And I think we did that. I think it's a better look. It's a cleaner look. And people really dig it.
So if you're going in looking into a bottle shop looking for the old kind of trippy fonts, and
Totally.
wild colors,
The
and
Grateful
stuff like that,
Dead
it's
look.
not there.
It's not the Grateful Dead look anymore.
A much cleaner. You got grayscale, basically photographs, and it's in cans, not bottles. It
That's
used to be all
correct.
bottles.
Yep.
But everything is uniform. You've got a different color band at the bottom.
Yep.
Of each can.
Signifying the different flavors. But this is, excuse me, I mean, like what we're trying to do with Boulder Beer is we've simplified things. We're sticking with 5 cores. We have a few one-offs that we do, and basically for the most part, those play off our shake, which we'll taste in a little bit. But it's we're trying to be core about our choices and really concentrate on the beers that we think we make well.
So most everybody, if you think Boulder Beer, if you know anything about Boulder Beer, probably hazy and infused is what comes to mind, right? Really, one of the first hazy IPAs before hazy IPAs were like a thing.
It's in that can right there, and we call it the original hazy ale.
I had this years ago at Bottle Rev. I
Right.
had this on my way to Vegas, stopping at the Denver airport.
Yeah.
And didn't really think anything of it. It was just a cloudier beer. It
Right.
wasn't like what I thought would eventually become a craze.
Right.
And
So hold on a second.
And
Why,
here we
then
are.
why is it associated with New England?
Yeah.
It just is what it is.
Yeah.
Because if you
Because we made it in Colorado, and we made it before.
That's what I'm curious.
Essentially, we made it before it was associated with New England.
Because I'm not gonna lie.
My assumption is, it's
Also,
become
I enjoy
associated with. It's become associated with New England over time because New England sort of adopted that style, right? And that's where that's where it came from. And
Because this is really good, but again, this is where sometimes I feel like I'm a good representation of like the typical beer drinker in that I'm not that immersed into who did what first and all that other stuff.
Sure.
I just know that when hazy IPAs were becoming more and more of a thing, you can call them a modern IPA, you can call them a New England IPA, you can call them East Coast, blah, 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 blah. But what you're telling me is that Boulder Beer was one of the first to do this.
I'm not going to tell you they were the first, but
not
on a big
first
scale, though.
Yeah,
not one of the first,
say,
but they were messing around with this before it became a thing.
This is a 15-year-old beer.
Okay, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I mean, like this beer has been around for a while. Like this is we were definitely making this before anybody got
15 years
really
ago,
excited
like
about
1990.
Stop
hazy.
it.
Right? Isn't that where?
Hey, look, 15 years ago in the beer business.
15 years.
Right.
15 years ago is a lifetime ago for us. You realize it was 2006?
What?
15 years ago?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it shouldn't be. I feel like it should be 1990.
I'm reminded every day with my 13-year-old.
I mean,
Okay, so like, trust me,
it says the original hazy ale on the can. I mean, We are representing.
Stop
that.
me when I'm lying.
Take these corners. What are you going to do? So no, it's good. It's good.
These are all sort of, I feel like they're, so the first one we tasted was the Bubbly by Nature. It's it's an interesting product for us. It's a brand new one. Did you get a chance to taste that
I have
one?
not had Bubbly by Nature.
You didn't?
So
Sorry, I
that
hate you.
is that's
So I'm just thinking Naughty by
I
Nature
thought
now.
you had it.
this is our sort of like move at a
No, you did.
light.
I mean, feel
Sorry,
like
man.
Come on.
Look. Right now, my flow is going back to these ciders that are like 10.5 and
This Bubbly by Nature is
100%.
basically
And
a
having
brute.
not had my
Oh,
sad turkey
this
sandwich.
is delicious.
It's great, Maddie. I love it.
This Bubbly is basically a brute that we don't say the word brute anymore, right?
Remember
it's not cool anymore.
Remember brute IPAs?
Yeah, right?
Diet
But
IPAs?
That's what it is. It's super crisp and clean
No,
and
that's what I thought. Yeah.
dry.
It's clean. Yeah, it's clean.
crisp-
It's it's only 4.5% alcohol too.
Yeah.
So I mean, I love this as a summer IPA. It's got good hop build. It's got it's got nice flavor.
Very
it's not gonna.
effervescent.
It's very effervescent. It's not going to blow anybody's mind. But
Don't put
it's,
that on ice, though.
No, I don't.
Wouldn't put that on
I
ice.
don't
Don't
think
put
that
that
one's
on
going to
ice.
work on ice.
All right. So, Maddie, before we say goodbye.
No, we got one more.
Oh, do we have one more?
We've got
one more.
We've got my fave.
We
that I've
got one
on
more,
like two of-
and it's funny because
two of the four restaurants.
because Adam won't let this one. We can't. We're not allowed to. We're not allowed to end
telling
without
you.
having this one.
You gotta have dessert.
I saved the
You
dessert.
gotta have dessert, Joe.
Yeah.
This is called the shake.
So this is our chocolate porter. And this is an oldie but goodie. This has been around for a long, long time. That's right. Straw is optional, and you don't need a straw. Or if you want one for your milkshake, needs, you can do that.
Does this beer bring all the boys to the yard?
It really does. It sure does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Smells like Count Chocula milk, doesn't it?
dude.
This definitely smells like the cereal's been sitting in the milk
Yeah,
for a good chunk of time.
yeah. It's like it reminds me of cocoa pebbles with a little bit of milk.
Yeah, that's dessert.
Yeah.
This is
But it's not heavy. It's what, 6%?
It's less actually.
Yeah.
It's 5.8.
It's
not the alcohol.
it's so tasty. It's so full of flavor.
5'9".
5.9.
Is the thing. I think you just nailed it. There's so much flavor with this one, and it's so rich.
Yeah.
Without the alcohol content being over the top, that this is definitely a. Is my night over?
Yeah.
I'll have that.
It's also something that you could spin to sell in the warmer months. Like, you know what's really delicious? A Wendy's Frosty at like 3 p.m. when it's 93 degrees.
Can I dip fries
Same
in
thing
it?
here. Like, this is something like, it's got all that rich chocolatey flavor, but it's not heavy. It's not going to weigh you down. And it can still just ice down. It's absolutely delicious.
I enjoy a porter and a stout from time to time, like the darker beers, like even, like especially as you get into the winter months. And I've always that's how I've always treated that style of beer. And it's funny now working for Boulder and carrying Shake around with me constantly. I have found myself consuming a can of Shake at 2:00 in the afternoon on a 90-degree day. And
It's
I'm
tasty.
like, it's pretty darn good. It really is. It's sort
They
of
call it Shake for a reason.
Yeah.
Well, I figured
exactly.
it's Colorado. It was a different kind of shake, but
Yeah.
now I see the chocolate.
It's Dave Hadish and I broke that open a few weeks ago after you had stopped by, and I had never had it, and I've had a few since then because I have it on I think 2 of our restaurants right now because you can find it around the Triangle and Draft and in Nitro,
Yep.
which adds an even
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
milkshake like.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So yeah, I've enjoyed a few of these since you've been by to drop off the goodies.
Well,
really tasty.
And our distributor just picked up. They've got 26 stalls of Law's Whiskey Barrel Shake coming.
That'll
probably.
be interesting because usually you when you barrel age something, it's usually a little higher
ABV
in alcohol.
It is.
It's always interesting to see how barrels.
It's at 8.9.
Oh, okay. So a little bit's been added.
Yeah.
All right, let's
Yeah.
talk about some merch before we get out of here.
Yeah. Let's do it.
You brought a variety of hats.
I did a number of different hats.
And hats. Look, hats are.
I think we all got what we thought was the best hat.
Yeah, I think everybody
hey,
gets
props to your marketing department.
And that's actually what that's why I wanted to get
Quinn, at. Yeah, Morgan, they're all killing it.
So if we understand beer is also an extension of lifestyle, or ciders can also be an extension of lifestyle. If you are selling an aesthetic.
Absolutely.
When you also sell these brands, it's not just about how good it tastes, but there's a reason why you design the cans the way you design them. There is an aesthetic that you are trying to speak to that reaches people and connects with people, and that extends itself with the brands and with the merchandise.
Yeah.
And hats are the easiest way, I think, more so than T-shirts. I think hats are the easiest way to extend that sort of lifestyle thing, which gets us to the variety of hats that you presented to us today. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because a lot of companies, including you, have to think about who are your demographics, who are the people that are drinking your stuff, what are we going to make that's going to connect with those people. So, and I know, Adam, you can speak to this too, because Mason Jar has to make swag as well. Flat brim hats.
As does Beer Icona.
As this beer kind of is. Flat brim hats, I should say, are always, like, that's a thing.
Yes.
Okay. They got the mesh back, the little snapbacks. Those aren't going away anytime soon because there is a bro demographic that loves those types of hats.
I probably include myself in that bro demographic.
How bro are we right now?
I don't know.
No,
I'm bro AF.
You two are very bro.
I do have a lot of pink on right now. It's kind of bro.
Is that because we took it upon ourselves to get fit during this COVID season?
Yes. It has a lot to do with it. Maddie's out here wearing, like, chubby shorts. You're shirtless all the time. So it is what it is. And Wayne and I are just, like, straight up dad broing it out over here.
Jealousy is a stinky cologne.
No, I'm very comfortable with my dad's state.
Green's not a good color on you, Joe.
I'm very comfortable with my dad's state. Thank you very much. You two have kind of entered into different bro realms. So my point is that you basically have a hat for all the things that speak to various types of bros.
And ladies.
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
This hat that I like, my wife will confiscate.
I feel like we have to go through all the hats that we liked here. I know, I'm serious.
He just whipped it out.
He did. Maddie whipped it out. We'll get to what he whipped out in a second. So, I tend to gravitate to 5-panel hats.
This is actually six-panel hats.
You showed me a 6-panel hat, and I was like, whoa, that's 1 panel too many. Okay, 1 panel too many. But then you busted out this corduroy hat with the leather strap in the back with a little bit of a flat brim. I'm like,
that you didn't think you'd like.
I didn't think I liked, but then I put it on. I'm like, no, this one speaks to me.
It does.
This one speaks to me. This is kind of like a 5-panel hat that I typically wear and how it fits me, but it's not a 5-panel hat, and that's why I ended up getting it. It's a corduroy hat that spoke to me. Adam got
Wayne got one that let's go.
No, we'll get to Wayne. We will get to Wayne in a second.
That is not my hat.
We'll get to Wayne in a second. So, Adam selected a hat that makes a lot of sense. It's a mesh 6-panel style hat,
but I don't wear 6-panel style.
But it's a mesh hat that you do wear.
Yes.
Now I know Bridge is going to take this hat.
It's got great colors,
but it spoke to you.
Super bright. It's summer, yeah.
It spoke to you because it's a flat panel. It's a flat brim. Wayne went with this denim hat.
No, I didn't. That's lie.
No, you told
I got
Wayne.
it straight.
Wayne is
mine's black. Everybody look. See, mine's black. With the leather stem ciders on it.
You also went with a mesh hat, but this has a little bit more of a curved brim and a rise on the hat. That's like that.
It's a sharp-looking hat,
but it also accommodates
like a shield.
But it accommodates your 5-head.
That's right, because I don't have a 4-head. I got a 5-head.
You got a 5-head. Wayne's got a big old dome, so he needs hats that can fit his big old dome. But let's talk about this denim hat.
It's
Maddie.
the Paloma denim.
Talk about it.
Let's talk about this Paloma hat, dude. This is a denim hat that I would associate with. That looks very 1995 to me.
I think you're spot on.
It looks like if there were a bus that pulled up to the Longaberger factory, 2/3 of the clientele would get off wearing this hat.
So this is a hat that if you saw it today, you wouldn't be surprised if you saw it with older people antiquing.
Or shopping at Yankee Candle.
This is a hat that they've been rocking since sometime in the mid-'90s. But how old are you, Manny?
I am 44.
I'm 42.
Yeah.
Adam's
41.
also 40. He's about to be 42. I always associate you as the same
41
age.
and a half.
You guys
I
are
don't
just
care.
kids.
I associate you
we're all
as the
the
same
same.
age as me. We're all basically the same. Wayne, you're young at heart. You and
take you
I
out,
see this
Joe.
hat, and we associate it with that time frame.
100%.
My girlfriend's your age.
How?
Oh!
I'm gonna make a. You know what? I'm not gonna make that joke. Not gonna make that joke. All right, Granddaddy. So,
Peace, Murph.
but for the Gen Z kids who are coming up with these designs, this is it.
It's the hot thing right now, man.
What has
That is
happened?
the
What's
crazy-
happening?
Every day we
What is
stray further
happening?
from the light.
How many times in our lifetime have we seen Birkenstocks come back?
But Birkenstocks are timeless.
My daughter has
they're not.
Birkenstocks, and
Yes,
she would
Daddy.
Not
and she
true.
would wear that hat.
Birkenstocks are not timeless. There have been
Birkenstocks,
periods
Docs,
of time
all that
where,
stuff, Doc Martens, all
where
that stuff, that's timeless
Birkenstocks
stuff.
have died.
No.
And then they've come back.
No.
They're back.
I'm gonna
They
disagree on that
reinvented themselves with like this new plastic white sandal that they're rocking
They
these
are.
days.
Yeah,
and then
I've seen-
everybody's.
I have a
I mean,
coworker
like
who
they're
wears
really,
those.
really hot now,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
They're basically
like,
glorified
I'm not saying
Crocs.
they died, like they didn't die
jellies.
completely,
Yeah.
but they just sort of did one of these, right? Like
Yeah.
they have these big,
I'm with
huge
you, I'm with you, I'm
waves
with
on that. I feel like this is the same thing, man. We saw this in 1995 exactly, and like, and
What you're getting
and
at is like what you say about Birkenstocks, which I think are a timeless thing.
Yeah.
I think Chacos would be the equivalent of what you're talking about, because when I was growing up in the 90s, it was all about Tevas or Tevas, however you want to
Tevas.
pronounce
Right,
it. Like the
Tevas.
strap,
Teva
like
Life.
that Teva Life, those strappy.
I owned a Birkenstock and a Teva. I mean,
Right, so I had
I
Tevas
tried them
back.
both out
Hey, man,
at one point.
When I was growing up in South Florida, the Teva tan, like that was a status symbol when you had that Teva tan, right?
That's unfortunate.
I know, right? Hey, in Boca, the Teva tan was the jam, all right? But when everybody was wearing Chacos, I was like, wait a minute, these are just freaking Tevas.
Right.
Like, what are you talking about? That's what this hat is.
Well, Chacos are Tevas that you can't wear socks with because it loops under your big toe.
Not all of them do. I have,
So my
I have
daughter-
Chacos that don't.
My
Thought I was
daughter's
being funny.
27, went to school at UNC Asheville. She would take that hat right there and absolutely wear it out. She would, but she's that demographic, right? She would sport that hat all day long with her Birks or her, what the boots you just said, Joe? The
Doc Martens.
The Doc Martens. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's got both.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'd sport that all day.
Oh yeah. I'm telling you, I mean, I have like since my marketing department sent me this hat, I have like actively looked around for people wearing this style of hat. It's happening.
Yeah,
My stepmother is 71 years old. I think if I would go in her closet right now, I could find 6 to 8 hats that look like this.
and
You
quite a
could
few
probably,
shirts.
and you could probably
Oh,
sell them on
and-
eBay in a lot
My
for
mom
like $200.
has shirts that look like this with Disney characters
Mine
on
too.
it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, mine too.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, this is marm wear, as we school marms. Like this is marm wear. This is what we used to call when we were young. When I was a cool young teacher, right out when I was 23, 24 years old,
Right.
not wearing this stuff.
Yeah.
So
It's
before
marmware.
before we wrap it up, I want to get back to Adam went nerd or whatever Joe said earlier. So
Oh, on the hats.
last week, early in the week, I think it was last week, might have been the week before. All my weeks are running together right now. But Whit Baker and I, with the brewer over at Bond and all the other places he
I was
brews
going to
for.
say at the 15 different breweries.
But anyway, Whit and I had a conversation going for a couple of weeks on something, and we decided to meet over at Triangle Beer Co.
Yeah.
To have a few beers and it chatted up, and it ended up being 5 or 6 Bond Brothers employees and myself and a couple more people I knew. And
Were you drinking the new STEM Bond collab while you were doing this?
no, because we were at Triangle Beer Company.
Oh, okay.
So Triangle didn't have that, but
Maddie, listen up. Come on.
but no, I do drink.
Wayne is flexing.
that was my really bad
No, here's
Wayne is flexing.
effort at a plug,
Yeah,
guys.
that's a
Come
good
on,
plug.
just
No, that's
go
a good
along
plug.
with me
Why
here.
didn't you meet at Bond and drink Maddie's collab?
That's a good plug, but the problem is that Wayne's too busy telling you about how he is the George Martin of Bond Brothers. So continue.
Yeah. So anyway, we're
Some people will get that reference.
I got there first, and I walked in, ordered a beer, and somebody else sat down. We ordered a beer, and we were sitting there chatting. And Whit comes in with, like I say, several people from Bond,
His entourage.
and Whit throws his card out to He says, man, I'll take care of the beer. And I already had a tab started, and I had one of the new Triangle Beer Co. hats because I love their hat logo.
Right, yeah.
So I had the $25 Richardson 112 laid up on the bar.
Yeah.
Because it was going to be on my tab.
Sure.
So when Whit throws his card up there and says, hey, I'll take care of everybody's, we get to the end, I said, well, let me at least pay for my hat. And the guy at the bar goes, he took care of everything. And I looked at Whit and I said, yeah. And did you know you bought a hat? He goes, well, I didn't know I did, but I said, well, look, I'll give you money. He goes, no, that's fine. It's fine. But I thought it was just so funny that Whit bought me a hat at another brewery with his Bond Brothers card, and Whit's he was geeking out on the beer. He just didn't even look at the tab. He just signed it.
Do you know if Whit isn't also associated with making that beer?
Well, I don't know. He could be.
He could be. I mean, he basically is associated with like 20 different breweries in the market.
But it was funny because Lance walked through as Whit was trying his first beer, and Whit went over. I made sure they knew one another.
Yeah.
And they started chatting, and 10 minutes later, Whit shows back up, and he basically broke down Lance's beer for him, and he was proud of it. But that's just Whit. I mean, Whit's such a good guy, but it was just funny that he bought a hat he had no clue about.
He had no idea what he was buying. Hey, man, life is good. If you could
it
just
was
buy
kind of like, man, I'll give you cash. He's like, I don't sweat it.
I was going to say, that's baller status. You don't even care what you're spending money on.
And he said I could share the story, so it was funny.
Couldn't be me.
I know, right?
I'm eating sad turkey sandwiches.
Sad turkey.
Wow.
In a second here. Maddie, thanks for hanging out, man.
Hey, thank you guys for
Thanks for bringing
me.
all the stuff. Thanks for the corduroy hat.
The jean hat.
The jean hat is
I feel like
amazing.
It'll be dynamite apparently amongst the younger generation and the
I
Golden Girls. The Golden Girls.
I feel
fan
like
club.
if I rock that at the pool, I will get like, oh, where did you get that hat? I might. That hat might be coming with me.
You need to have like a wicker pool bag.
Yes, absolutely. All right, we'll see y'all next week. What do we got to do? Problem next week.
No problem.
Yeah, I'm in Cancun. Sorry.
Boom, flex.
I'm in Charlotte for I'm in Charlotte for ACC kickoff. So you want to do the podcast on Friday?
Possibly.
Okay,
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure something out. All right, we'll see y'all then.
Cheers.
You've been listening to the 919 Beer Podcast with host Joe Ovius, Adam Eschbaugh, and Wayne Holt. Don't forget, there are many ways you can listen to this podcast, including streaming at WRALSportsFan.com, the WRAL Sports Fan app, and you can also subscribe for free at Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Pocket Casts, and TuneIn. This podcast also airs Saturday mornings at 8 on Buzz Sports Radio. Thanks again for listening to the 919 Beer Podcast.